Talk a little bit about psychology. Is there any student of psychology here?
He's absent.
Who was that?
Shiva.
Shiva. Oh. Okay. That's
He knows
well, doing a field in psychology.
And almost
Oh, I would like to talk to her. So what's psychology? What is psychology? Psychology is the mind of, it's a study of? Yeah, the mind, psychos, yes. So what is the mind? I'm drinking. What is mind? So we are going to start our study on psychology, Asking what is psychology? Psychology is the study of Sukhe, the mind of man, the soul of man. Yes, Sukhe and Pneuma. They both translators, sometimes spirit and Sukhe, the soul and spirit, or the mind. So what is the mind of man? You ever thought about? People ask us sometimes, tell us someday, mind your business. Mind your own business. But what is it? What is mind means?
Managing.
Mind means managing? So psychology is a study on management? No, psychology is not a study on management. There is industrial management by the way, psychology, industrial psychology. That actually is not again on management, but that's about industrial problems of labor unions and the psychology of workers and all that thing. Psychology is a study of man's, man's mind. But then the question is, what is mind? What is mind? Yes. As I say in Malayalam, we have a very easy way of understanding it, and I think I said sometimes, a man and woman are standing for marriage, and the preacher asks, Mariyamme ninakku manasundo? Their mind stands for what? Are you willing? That their mind stands for your volition, your willpower. Are you willing to take this man? That's what, But then the student is teaching maths and asks the children, Manasilayo, kunyangale. Manasilayo means what? You understood. See, that's intellect. That Manasi is about the intellect. You go to a doctor, psychiatrist and say, doctor, and manasinu sukhamilla. There, you are not saying I cannot understand maths now. No. It means that your emotions, I'm crying where I should not be crying, laughing where I should not be laughing, I'm eating a whole lot where I should not be eating. I get angry at people recently, I get frustrated and I feel like running away and all. It means my mind is not normal, my feelings are not normal. As a normal human being, I have to be behaving in certain way. I'm not behaving certain way. So mind means actually a man's thinking, the rational faculty of man. Technically in psychology it is called the cognizance of man. I take cognizance, means I take into account, yes. The cognizance of man, and it speaks for the affection of man, or the affection, the emotions of man. It speaks for the volition of man, or the willpower of man. Basically, they are the basic meanings of mind. So psychology basically is talking about how a man thinks, how a man feels, how a man decides. That's what psychology. So psychological problem affects his thinking, affects his feeling, affects his deciding. A man who is psychologically healthy, he thinks normal, he feels normal, he decides normal. So psychology is a study of the mind, and mind is such an important faculty, Actually, what we call the personality, the key factor, the key truth of the personality is that your self-consciousness, your self-awareness, your self-determination, your self-government, and all that part of your personality. Means self-consciousness. Only man has the ability to be conscious of himself. Animals are not self-conscious. They only operate by, the God-given instincts, that sort. But we are self-conscious. A tall man is conscious that he is tall. Intelligent person is conscious, I'm intelligent. A black person is conscious, I'm black. A very short person is conscious, I'm short. A white man is conscious, I'm white. All these things, we have self-consciousness. Animals don't have it. If animals were conscious, you think that a dog will bark at an elephant? It doesn't make any sense, because the dog is only this much and the elephant is so. The dog keeps on barking. The dog does not know it's very small, nor the dog knows the elephant is too big. Otherwise, the dog will mind its own business. They don't have. They are not having self-awareness, The dog does not know it is having fever, it is not feeling well, it's hungry, it's cold, So dog is not objectively thinking, but man has all these feelings, thirsty, hungry, I'm cold, I'm not feeling well, I'm angry, I'm frustrated, and self-awareness. And the consciousness man is having, not only the conscience, but consciousness he has. He knows about the situations. I'm talking to an older man, I should be very careful. I'm talking to a lady, I have to be very careful. I'm talking to a little child, I have to be very careful. I have to be careful. I'm talking to my teachers, I have to be careful. I'm talking to a police officer, I have to be careful. All this consciousness man is having. So he's behaving in that way. That's what psychology is all. So if a man doesn't talk to the police officer correctly and the police officer beats him up, and every 3, 4 times, 5, 6 times, anytime he sees a policeman, he runs to him, start fighting, then you'll take him to a psychiatrist and say there is some problem for this man. He's not behaving rightly. He's not behaving rightly. So our behaviors, that's what is, So the key question in psychology is, what is the basic nature of man? What is the basic nature of man? That's a big question. Evolutionary psychologists will say that no difference between man and animal. They call man is a developed animal. That's all what it is. Evolutionary sociologists say man is a social animal. Here is a developed animal. But you ask to somebody who believes in God, he will never say man is an animal. He will take it an offense, you call me a dog or a monkey. I'm not. I'm a man. So what do you mean by? I am somebody uniquely created by God. Yes. I have a physical part and I have a mental part. I have a material part and a non-material part. My non-material part has a mind or a soul and a spirit. Yes. So these are very important things, important things. So what is man is a big question. What is man? What is man? Man is not an animal. Man is created in the image of God, in the likeness of God. Man is a moral being. Man is a spiritual being. Man is a rational being. Man is an emotional being. Man is a volitional being. So we say man is a unique being. There is none like man. There is none like man. Even a little child, little child, just a newly born child. That child is so conscious of so many things. When the child wets, cries. When the child is hungry, cries. When the child is cold, cries, right? Some unfamiliar person comes, cries. The child, a little child, is so conscious of so many things. Isn't it amazing? You look at a child, amazing. You ever seen animals smiling? Hyenas, they smile. No, children smile. The newly born child smile. Even in sleep they smile. Sometimes they cry. Is that nice? Yes. Even in mother's womb they cry and they smile. Man is the only creature other than angels and God, who has the capacity to smile. Yes. The only animal. I always love dogs, and we always have dogs, many dogs. At present we have 3 dogs back home, Those dogs never smiled at me. Yeah. They come, then when they want to express the love, and they jump over me, and they smell me and this and that, and never smiled at me. Never. I love other birds, they never smile. I always loved cattle. I love animals. We always had at home cattle in the early days. I loved them, but they never smiled at. Yeah, sometimes they, I don't know, but they're mocking me or smiling at me. I don't think they're smiling at me anyway. They don't have the capacity to smile. No, they don't have. So man is a unique creature. So psychology is a study on man actually. What is man? What is man's mind? How it functions. It also studies what relationship man's body and mind has. You are hungry, does it affect your mind when you are hungry? When you are hungry, it affects? Oh yeah, you can just, you eat every day at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock lunch, it's 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock, you can just look at his face and say that he's not very happy. It shows, it reflects on our face. Because our body and our mind, they are coupled together. And our soul and our mind, our spirit and our soul and our body, and our spirit and our... You don't sleep, you don't get sleep very good 2 or 3 days in a row. 4th day you are irrational. You are irrational, most people. If you don't sleep for 1 week continuously, you are a mentally sick person. You need to see a psychologist. That's why sleeping is very, very important. You have to get, a normal healthy person has to get about 6 hours sleep. Don't sleep more than that. It's a sin. Some of you sleep more than that? No, you don't need, really you don't need. 6 hours sleep is plenty. Plenty sleep. Because there's even sleep experts say that very few people sleep more than 6 hours in adults. Healthy adults don't sleep. It takes for many people to get into sleep an hour and to get out of sleep in an hour. Somebody who has trained himself to sleep well, in 2 minutes he gets to sleep, sound sleep. And in 2 minutes he gets out of sleep. Normal. That's tolerated. The other times, all you turn this way and that way, you're dreaming, you're thinking about this. That's not sleep. You're just wasting your time. You could get up and be studying something.
And then you should sleep first.
Especially reading Bible. Yeah, that's what they said. That I got, somebody went to doctor and doctor prescribed sleeping pills, and he said, "Doctor, I got sleeping pills at home. Who prescribed it?" Well, whenever I am not sleepy, I take the Bible and immediately fall into sleep. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. Yes. So, we have a mind, and mind has tremendous amount of capacity. The power of the mind, it's tremendous. The good soldiers, for example, are trained in their mind, they are sometimes caught by the enemies. Especially a captain or a colonel or somebody caught by the enemies, they wanted to squeeze out every inch of every iota of information they can get on their enemy, country, where the bombs are kept, where their arms are kept, in what movement, and everything they wanted. But you cannot get any information from these colonels and captains. They persecute them like anything. Beat them up and so cruelly, but won't leak out any information. And before you are promoted to those ranks, they put you into psychological test, whether you can rely on, whether you will leak out, That means the tremendous amount of strength our mind has to endure persecution and sufferings, beatings. That's Christians have proved over and over again. How much they are persecuted to deny Jesus Christ. Not one of them. Really, born again Christians, very seldom they deny the Lord. They will rather die. The enemy cannot. The power of the mind I'm talking about, the power of the mind. Mind has tremendous power. Where we got this power? God created man in his image, in his own image and likeness. That's why we got this power. So a study of psychology is very interesting, actually. Very interesting. But the secular psychology is a disaster. Because they do not believe man is created, man is evolved, they believe. So when you don't believe man is created, then there is no design, right? It's an accident that you came. But we Christians believe, as the Bible teaches, that man is a creation, unique creation of God, created in his own image with a purpose. With a purpose. We have the capacity to think, to feel, to make decisions, capacity to stand for truth, capacity to like and dislike. Oh, that's great. Actually, the doctrine of sin, when you deny the doctrine of sin, the secular psychologists have a difficult time in explaining many of the misbehaviors of man. Christian psychologists have the advantage because they know the root cause. She must have or he must have violated some cardinal principle of God's word. Continuously harboring bitterness towards her husband, towards his wife, towards his mother-in-law, towards her mother-in-law, or somebody else in the church, that continuous bitterness is going to make your mind bitter. You can see the rationality of that. I still remember one of my friend's father, a very, very successful salesman, insurance salesman, very successful. He made money like anything. But then he wanted to leave the job and go to full-time ministry. He wanted to become a pastor, So he told his wife, who also claimed to be a believer, that I'm going to leave my job and go to a seminary to become a pastor. She said, no, you're not going to resign your job. You resign your job, our marriage is over. I'll divorce you. I don't want a pastor husband, I only want a man who can make money. Anyway, he resigned and she divorced. This man could not forgive her. Because he's divorced now, he couldn't go seminary. No seminary will take a divorced person. He cannot become a pastor because, if any fundamentalist they won't take. So his whole future is gone. He lost his job. He lost his future. He is so bitter against her. So bitter. I have talked to this man many times because his son was my friend, I talked with this man. No use. Whatever he talked, anyway, he said that I cannot forgive her. I cannot forgive. She destroyed my life. Then afterward, he became a mental patient. He was in the hospital most all the time. He died in the hospital finally. Only because of bitterness. No other problem. The bitterness has changed his mind. He was so bitter, he could not think normal. He could not think normal. His talks were absurd. His behavior were absurd. So I had talked with him many times, but he said, whatever you say, but she destroyed my life. And I said that you just call your, wife and ex-wife, whatever you want to call, and tell her that I have forgiven you. Your problem will, no, I will never do, I will never forgive. Never I will forgive her. Neither in this world nor the world to come. The bitterness is one of the major reasons our mind has problems, So the study of psychology is very practical. When we have to help people and deal with people, we needed to know a little bit psychology, how this works. Christian psychology emphasizes the spiritual aspect more than all. Secular psychology does not believe in spiritual. They think that man is simply body and mind. That's it, nothing beyond that. So the mind they could correct either by medicine or by some counseling. But Christian psychologists, they know where the problem comes from. The spiritual problem, man is a sinner. Man is a fallen being. And therefore, if he does not maintain certain relationship with God, certain moral and ethics, certain kind of thinking, norm of thinking, then he is going to be abnormal in behavior, very abnormal in behavior. So Christian psychologists only can help actually human being to solve their problem. Secular psychologists, even though even psychiatrists, they may have a postgraduate degree in psychiatry and all these things may be very good, but they really cannot help. They are simply giving a crutch in the hands of the person. They are never going to make him whole. They are teaching him to walk with a crutch. That's all. It's not solution. Because they don't deal with the sin problem. That's a sin problem. Many of our psychological problems are actually sin problem, some of the sins we have repeatedly committed and the consequences of those sins. Don't we read in the Psalms where David, after committing sin with Bathsheba, he is describing his own experience, what was he saying? His inner being was like potsherd, it was dry bone. He had no peace, nothing, That's what happens. But when he said, I will confess my sin, things begin going back normal. That's what is happening, So only Christian psychologists can help human beings, the problems. Our greatest need is really not physical. Food is not our greatest need. Clothes is not our greatest need. They are all our needs. True, but they are not our greatest need. Our greatest need is the need of the mind. Man is a spiritual being. So he has a spirit, he has a soul, he has a mind. The needs of that mind is more important than the needs of the physical. That's what Jesus said. Man does not live by bread alone. That goes to the physical body. But he lives by every word that proceeds from the mouth of God. His spiritual need, the mental needs are much, much higher and greater than his, physical need. But we have made this great mistake that we emphasize the physical aspect more than the mental aspect. We think that our children will be okay if they get a good job, if they become doctors or engineers. There's nothing wrong in becoming doctors and engineers. We need doctors and engineers. But will they be okay if they become doctors and engineers? No. No, they don't become. Their greatest need is not educational need. Their greatest need is spiritual need and then mental need. I sometimes feel that a lot of our believers are mental patients. Honestly. I don't mean to say that they need psychiatrist help. That's not the mental. Their mind is not developed. So narrow-minded, they are so jealous about others. They cannot talk with somebody that, they don't like. They cannot take criticism. They cannot take correction. These are mental problems. Somebody think you are wrong. Brother, you are wrong to do that. You're not supposed to do it. And you must be saying, oh, thank you for pointing it out. How kind you are. Then, we got the relationship is lost. No more talking, no more calling, nothing. Your face is this big when you see it. And then say, what's the matter? What's wrong? Don't talk with me. I don't like you. What's the matter? Did I rob you or something? They say, you insulted me. What insult? I only corrected you. Eh? If you are going in the wrong way, I put you in the right way. Is that an insult? See, we are mental patients. We cannot take criticisms. We cannot take corrections. We cannot suffer any loss, physical loss, so many. You look at a man like Job. What a mental giant he was. How much loss he could take. Unnecessarily his friends unnecessarily his friends criticized him and accused him. That's, still he did not abuse them. He only tried to justify his position, that's all. God finally said that you have not spoken about me. Okay. Hello.